Source Nation, join us now for the Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert, a platform that encourages the 4Ds of philosophy: discussion, discourse, dialogue, and debate. Prepare to travel from the past, present, and have discussions of future implications and projections with a correlation to African Americans. These topics are intended to grab your attention, cause contemplation, and encourage some form of action. From the world to the White House to the hood and everything good, the pendulum is swinging your way. Source Nation, here is your host, Dr. Samori Swygert.
Welcome. Hello, Source Nation. How's everybody doing today? And once again, I'm back here wishing you tremendous blessings with health, family, love, career success, spiritual progress, and the accomplishment of your dreams. Now, Source Nation, once again, it's always the event that we have to become intellectually intimate, right? And before we get started, I always encourage you to get your coffee, get your wine. If you have some water and you want to turn your water into wine, you can do that too. And always remember to pass me my shoehorn so I can put my foot all up in today's topic. Now, before we go any further, make sure you share the link with your friends on your social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the other social media platforms. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert, a.k.a. Doc Swag, and I want to welcome you to my show, The Pendulum. Now, Pendulum. Somebody say, why do you call your show The Pendulum? Well, a pendulum is an apparatus that people associate with a clock that helps gauge time and space. It traverses through time in a constant backward and forward motion. Some would say retrograde to anterograde. And this is what we do throughout the show as I engage topics. We have to connect the dots from the past, the present, and the future. And today's show, we're definitely going to do that. We're going to show that tradition manifest from the past to the present to the future. The show is designed to encourage the 4Ds: debate, dialogue, discussion, and discourse. Now gather your friends and family as we prepare to travel from the past, the present, and have discussions of future implications and projections with a correlation to African Americans. From the world to the White House to the hood and everything good, the pendulum is swinging your way. Now, many of us, we have great ideas that we think could help revolutionize society. It can change lifestyles, the way we operate, But many of us, we don't know the proper steps that are required. Many of us lack resources. We lack funding. We lack the connections. We lack the time to bring our fruition. And thus, many great ideas that we have as inventions, they go to the idea graveyard. And oftentimes, it just rests there until someone else comes upon the idea and decides to unearth it and patent it. And then we sit there like, I thought about that a long time ago. Meanwhile, the other person turns that small idea into millions of dollars or industries and empires. Well, today I'm joined with Mr. Algenon Ashford. Algenon Ashford is walking the path of our great black innovators and creators. He's taken the ancestral torch of Garrett Morgan, Norbert Rilloux, Benjamin Banneker, Lewis Latimer, Elijah McCoy, Granville T. Woods, Lonnie Johnson, George Washington Carver, and a plethora of other great black minds and great black inventors. Mr. Ashford brings the power and represents the importance of the black mind. He received a patent for his creation, claiming the tech industry of the 21st century. See, we often relish of the aforementioned great black inventors of yesterday. But what about today and tomorrow? The participation and the representation of black ideas, patents, and inventions has gotten rather quiet in recent years. Mr. Ashford decided to be bold and follow his dreams and pursue with a passion. So that's what we'll be discussing today, Source Nation. We've got to focus on our black tech inventors. Now, before we do that, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our sponsors because they make all of this possible. Our sponsors are WGLRO.com, Scott Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Types matchmaking. Now, you can also call in and have dialogue, discussion, debate, and discourse with us, the 4 Ds. The number, area code 619-924-0933. Source Nation, we're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we'll be having a discussion with Mr. Algenon Ashford. We'll be discussing his invention, the APD, and how it works, how it came to fruition, and a little bit more. So stay tuned, and we'll be back after the break. Peace.
Source Nation, stay tuned. You're listening live to The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert.
Source Nation, welcome back to The Pendulum. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert. As I stated earlier, we're talking with Mr. Algenon Ashford and his invention, the APD, today. It is going to be a very good discussion for those that think about inventing things and just don't know where to start or, where to put their foot down. This man right here, I had a good time talking to him yesterday. Just listen to his story and how he went from idea to product and just the different steps. And then also just thinking about our African-American legacy and heritage of inventors. Very inspiring, very inspiring. So Source Nation, I want everybody to welcome Mr. Algenon Ashford. Mr. Algenon Ashford, welcome to The Pendulum. How are you doing, sir?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, so I'm doing well. Glad to have you on the show to talk about your technology, your invention, your creativity, your innovation. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'm so excited to be here tonight. It's been a dream that is coming true to fruition, and it looks really good. So I'm very excited.
All right. Very good. So hopefully, we'll get all the listeners and the audience and the listenership to tune in and hear what you have to offer and listen to your dream and your story. Now, before we go any further, I immediately want people to get their pen and paper out, and I would like for you to let the listenership know how they can get in contact with you, because as we're talking about things, you may be ringing a bell in some people's mind, and they don't know where to go, and so they may look at you as a resource. So, what's your contact info as far as email, telephone, and any social media?
Okay. Email is algenonashford@gmail.com. That's Algenon, Algenon, Ashford, Ashford, @gmail.com. They can reach me on my cell at 240-375-1417, 1417. I'm on social media with Facebook, and that's Algenon Ashford at Facebook, AA General Contractors. So any of those can pretty much find me, and all of the information that they would have, they can contact me through email or social media.
All right. Good. Now, Mr. Ashford, people want to know. People seen the flyer. What is the name of your invention? What's the name of your product? Just so people will know what we're talking about today.
It's Algenon Personal Diary, and we got the synonym in there is APD. That make it short. That's the name that I've given it. Algenon Personal Diary.
Algenon's Personal Diary, APD. Now, let the listenership know, what is APD? What is Algenon's Personal Diary? What is that?
Algenon's Personal Diary is a Bluetooth headset that when I wanted to be able to capture my great ideas and I didn't want to stop and break down whatever I was doing, and I wanted to write my ideas down. So I thought it would be great if I could speak my ideas out loud and my invention will write it down for me. So my invention is basically for people that's on the go and for the elderly, and it's for the general population.
There's some things, some people may be like, okay, just from the way you explained it, it sounds kind of like my phone can do this. Like, you know, my telephone can probably do what you're saying. Is that true, or does yours does it differ? How does yours differ from like a cell phone or a personal recorder?
Well, that's a good question. A Bluetooth headset can only, when you're using it for your cell phone, it's got to be connected to your cell phone or wired or paired. And all it can do is, hello, how you doing? And you can listen to the conversation, and after you're done, that's it with the Bluetooth headset. What makes mine is totally different and unique. You have a Bluetooth headset that has internal storage and speech recognition that is built directly to the Bluetooth headset. And most headsets, they are wired or wireless, and they have connectivity to the computer for storage. And when you have speech recognition software to capture the ideas and convert it. But with APD, you can take your notes, record it, any kind of information that you want. You can speak into the Bluetooth headset. You could be on a bike. You could be on a car. You could be walking. You could be anywhere. And that's what makes mine totally different. It has the ability to store and speech recognition. And that way you can categorize it. You can go from it automatically convert your speech to text. It records notes and documents that moves with a high quality as you're moving out on your bike or walking. And it's a Bluetooth headset that you can come and you can have the headset to your computer and transfer all your files to a USB port. That's what mine is.
So it's kind of like those the little earpieces, but it's kind of like it's like an earpiece, but it's also like a USB that records everything with a microphone and has the writer in there.
Exactly. What it has is it's integrated, and it has a speaker with a low noise microphone, while you get clear voice recognition without background noise that are normally used with speakers and people have dictation device. Actually, what the Bluetooth is, it's a dictation device where you can speak into it and it captures not only your voice recording, it also has text, and it can also give it different translations, and it's hand-free recording. And that's what makes mine totally different from anything that's on the market.
Wait, okay, hold on, wait a minute. You said it gives different translations. What do you mean by that?
Well, multiple translations. You can speak in English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, Russian, Polish, and simplified Chinese. And when you're speaking to a person in Chinese, you can take the device and speak it English, and it will translate it into French for you. All of these features that I have is already invented. And so by me compiling all of these up and put it into something very unatrocious, that makes it distinct so that it can help a lot of people in the world and make their job easier and save time. And, of course, time is money.
Right. Now, that's powerful right there. The fact that it can translate into the other languages, that's powerful. Very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Now, you and I, we were talking the other day, and you were also saying how you have a specific patent with the Bluetooth technology. Would you be able to expound on that, or is that something that's kind of under wraps?
Well, what happens when you have an idea and you have to sort of fill around and find out for yourself and do your self-research on it to see whether or not it's anything like it. And so I did that, and I had IT people to check up with all of the technology that I needed with voice recognition and speech recognition and all of the things with poll. And when you get ready to talk with the device, when you pause, you don't have to worry about restarting it again, and it will pause when you pause and automatically picks up and takes off where you takes off with your speech recognition. And so once we got all of that and we put it into writing, you have paperwork to fill out for the patent office. And then in 2 weeks' time, they said they had nothing like it from the patent office. And then there I went to Invent Health. And Invent Health I'm contracted with them to protect my idea. And they've done a tremendous job with the audio because you can reach it on YouTube, Algenon Personal Diary. You can reach it on YouTube, and they did a fantastic job with erweb.com with the press release. And so these things really protect me from anybody grabbing it, and I have, numbers and identification number that I am with a large company that's protecting me. And so now we're in the process of moving to a prototype and then to manufacturing to get it licensed and sales.
Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Ashford, I think we have to kind of, to show the enormity and the expanse of how you can utilize the APD, people have to actually think about and visualize, how could I use the APD in my life? And so you and I, we were talking about various situations and scenarios that it could be applicable and have utility. And, we can go in depth, but I'm just going to touch just different categories before you and I kind of talk about it in detail. But ministry, education, law enforcement, preservation of family memories for the musicians and the artists, movie script writers, book writers, physically disabled. There's a lot space for the APD to really revolutionize so many sectors of human activity. So, for instance, how do you think the APD would revolutionize education?
That's a good question. Say if you was in college and we had APD with the instructor and he was to do his lecturing. And after he's done, then he would clean it up, of course, and make sure it wouldn't take that long because he knows exactly what he said and he's speaking from his heart and reading documents. And then he would clean it up and just send it to the whole class. So instead of them missing half of the information by writing and not listening and being sort of off-key points in classes, and we all had those, I have a lot of that bad, this would be a great tool for them to just make sure that you hear every word that he had, and then that turn, it would pick up the learning for the schools and for the kiddos, middle school, for high school, for college, actually for graduate courses, what have you. It would just be another tool where you could just hear exactly what was said, and then if you didn't get the text properly, you would have the voice message to pick it up, and you wouldn't miss a beat. And it could be used in hospitals. It could be used in ministry, like you said. A pastor gets up in the morning and the Lord gives him a revelation. Instead of him trying to grab a pencil and write all of these things down, pick up the APD. You don't have to plug it up. You don't have to boot it up. It's ready when you are ready. And you just start, once it hits the voice recognition, and it has a speaker low noise microphone that allows you to get clear voice recognition, it would just pick up everything that you said, and you could just smooth. And it will hold up to 32 gigabytes to 64 and higher. Depends on what you need it for. So it is a new modern way of capturing your files, your documents, and retrieving it for a later time. And then you can take it and put it on your USB port and download. And if you don't have that, you can get it from the cloud or your Wi-Fi. That's the difference.
As you were also talking about the education process and the utility of an education, I kept thinking about how more diverse the American population, the demographic, from just regular, we have Latinos and Hispanics, we have Koreans, we have Chinese, we have people from Thailand, we have people from Iran, we have people from Central America, South America, all over. And so it definitely helps, especially when English is like your second language or maybe your third language. It's then where you have that translation component comes in, because you have people that come from overseas to get studies in America. And so, they may be a little, the translation as they're sitting in class trying to understand the lecture, they have that comfort in knowing that, listen, it can be translated and transcribed into my native language where I can still digest the message when the lecture is done. So that's a plus right there.
Absolutely.
Now,
it's
the other
hand-free recording. It's hand-free recording, too, because most dictated device, you got to hold it, and, it's got to be unatrocious. This is unatrocious. Most of them are atrocious, actually, because you got to have it or have your cell phone, and you can't do anything from your cell phone because it might ring in the class. Or This is designed for voice recognition, and anything that you have that you want to save for your parents or grandparents and memories or any type of documents, diary, this is what it's designed for. It's voice dictation.
Right. And it also it differs. Like a lot of people say, well, Dragon does that, but you don't have to sit in front of a computer to do the dictation. Because I've had a Dragon software on my computer, but you have to sit there with the microphone in front of your computer and then talking to the microphone as it types it out. Here, like you said, I can literally be in the grocery store just talking everything out on the APD. I could be driving home from work, talking in the APD, and everything is being transcribed. So that is another thing, the convenience where you don't have to be stationary when you're doing this. So it gives you that freedom of mobility.
It's for people that's on the go. It's for people that's on the go and for the elderly. You can use the same thing for the elderly when they're getting ready to go on a vacation and they always forget medicine, this, that, the other. And this will help them. Actually, it will help them, too, to remember, because you can let them see that you said the same thing just a minute ago, and here it is in writing. Oh, baby. And then they begin to think now and not just speak. They can see themselves, and prayerfully it'll help them, to get on the right track and get their memories together because they can see what they're saying. So that's a plus too. It's just so many ways that you could use it. Look at comedians. Look at writers like yourself. Probably would have helped you finish your book a lot sooner when it saves time. Oh my gosh. So much.
It definitely would.
So much time.
It definitely would.
What you probably could do in a month is what you've taken you probably years to do. Because all you have to do is go back and edit it. And you're coming, when you speak natural, you don't go back and say, did I write the right word or did this right? It's a natural flow for voice recognition. And just like you and I talking now, and you could have captured everything that we say. We didn't go back and say, is that the right verb, or is that the right sentence, does that sound right? It's more natural. And then you can help people, and people can be themselves, and then they can go back and retrieve. So you can use an example for prayer. You can see what you've been praying, and you can see if your praying been redundant, or do you need to change it, or are you praying the same thing? You can look at your prayer life in a couple of weeks, and you can determine them, probably why your prayers are not answered or what you're doing to mess it up. Or you can look at a meeting if you're in a training. Say you go to McDonald's with some of the kids, and they have to learn all of this stuff. And I mean, when you go to these places, sometimes they have this overwhelming. You got to learn this. You got to learn that. You got to go through books. You got to read this book. She got to tell you this, that, the other. Oh, the APD knocks out half of that. Everything that she said that you have to go over, the next day you would be equipped and ready to do business. And it'll make you more efficient.
Mr. Ashford, now, people are listening all over the country. People are submitting questions in the online chat room. So I have a question from a person in the chat room, and it says this, quote, Mr. Ashford, I'm sure that you're well aware that a lot of African Americans selling the blueprint of their inventions to white people. African Americans such as Carol's daughter, hair products were sold to L'Oreal. Do you see yourself doing this down the line, or will you keep the rights to your invention?
That's an excellent question. Well, my heart desire and what God has given me, this vision, is to help the African American community. And my desire is to manufacture it and let it go viral throughout the United States and throughout the world. We can finally have something where we can benefit from. We can hire our own. In the state of Maryland alone, you have 17,000 people, men that is incarcerated, and 76% is African American. That's a lot of men that's doing repeated crime, repeat offenders. And also you have 16 million people in the United States, and young people are homeless. So we got to break the monotony, and God's given me an idea where we can help a lot of people. And this idea of ABP will actually pilot. Once we get it rolling, and we are rolling and continue to roll at a speed, and the whole thing is to create jobs, create a place where people can feel, their own dignity, and they can pay their taxes. They don't have to rob. They don't have to steal. If you pay the people, and if we can provide for our people, I think that would be astronomical to be able to help people. And that's where the idea came. I had prayed and asked God, how can we help these people? We got so many of them don't have jobs. If they do have jobs, they don't. And then in the neighborhoods, the food is not good. It's the lowest food. You get the cheapest food you can buy. We can turn that around. We can revolutionize all of this and be able to help people and employ them and train them. And we can go to the universities, like the HVAC schools. They're all run down. We can set up our own department and electronic and engineering, and we can produce them from the HVAC schools to the manufacturer right here in America. And then that gives us jobs. They give us our own security. We can build our own strip malls. We can do it all. But we need to do it as a unit and not just a few people.
Okay.
So the answer to that question, no. We need to keep something for ourselves. We got to keep something. We can't just give it away, become a billionaire, and say, hey, I got $800 million. Come on. We want to help people, and that's the whole motivation for APD.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just let's see. We're here at the bottom of the hour. So those that are probably just tuning in to the Pendulum, once again, I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert. You're tuning into the Pendulum, and you're listening to a discussion that I'm having with Mr. Algenon Ashford. He's discussing his invention, the APD, and he's just going over how he came up with the idea and what it does and how you can use this in your everyday activity and just kind of streamline a lot of your ideas, thoughts, and just the different ways of use. So this is what you're listening to if you're tuning in right now. Mr. Ashford, the other thing I was thinking about was this is right on the heels of the police shooting in, I believe it's Texas, and there's a couple other recent ones. I also see some use for the APD for people that, as you're traveling, as people engage with law enforcement, and now, depending on which state you are, they don't want you using cameras to film your interactions with the cops. That might be a good thing. The APD might be a good thing to have. When the cops stop you, you put the APD on, put it in your ear, and as you're having this dialogue with the officer, you're hearing everything. You're hearing what you're saying. You're hearing what he's saying. Everything is being recorded in real time, and you have a manuscript when you get home. Prayerfully, hopefully, if you make it home from that encounter, you can go ahead and download right there, or it's in the cloud, and you have the audio. So you have the audio and you have the manuscript. So I see some utility in that too. So that was just one of the things that I kind of also liked about it, aside from being a writer and a music artist.
Absolutely. I don't know what the laws are going to be, but you know how things change when you have, innovative ideas. But as far as that, it could be the same thing as having a cell phone in your car. Exactly. It wouldn't be a problem. You would have every word that he said, and you would have it in text and in voice recording.
Exactly.
That'll be great. Absolutely.
Now I want to take it to another phase now, because we know the name of your product. We know what the product does and its capabilities. We see that there's several markets for its utility. But now, as an inventor, tell the audience what were probably some of the most scariest or the most frustrating or the most difficult part in the whole process, from the idea to the prototype. What would you say was probably the scariest or your most frustrating or the most difficult, would you say?
Oh, that's a good question. It's actually defending your idea. Most people are going to tell you, you got something similar like that, and you have a provision of patent, and there's nowhere in the patent office will let you go with something that is duplicated. So more or less to explain it, to tell more of the technology was more of a problem. But as it gotten easier, I've learned basically how to tell people and how to talk about it. You have a computer as a Bluetooth headset, and it can do most of everything that you want in terms of dictation. And that has been a tough one for me. However, when you begin to tell people more about your product, and then they can see where there's a need, and they can see where they can save them. I've interviewed a lot of people, doctors, lawyers, politicians, nurses, and I haven't found anybody that didn't like it. Actually, on Bluetooth, we actually on YouTube, and there's no one that said didn't like it on YouTube. Algenon Personal Diary. There's no one that said that didn't like it, that couldn't use it. So it's for young people. I visited kids in college, in the grammar school, and they was really fascinated about it. So it wasn't a whole lot of dislike. It was a lot of, wow, I never thought of that. How did you beat the Japs from thinking about it? I said, we African-American has a lot of ability to create, but I think the lack of funding can be discouraging, and that's been a problem that we are facing, but we shall overcome. Because what happened, you have great ideas, and the first thing, well, I can't afford it, so you just sort of let the idea vanish. I believe that this is what I'm called to do, to help a lot of people, and I believe that the people that God has for me to take it to the next level where we can get the prototype and get the manufacturing and get the sales, that's what I believe, and that's tough for me. But we are working and we are moving every day.
All right. Got another question. We got two questions from the chat room. And the question is, quote, how long do you think it will take before your invention hits the market?
That's a good question. We are in the process now of dealing with partnership and investments, and we need to develop the prototype, packaging and shipping, of course, a new APD website. We need a merchant account, and we are constantly training people pro bono, and they have pitched in and did a lot of work with Team APD. They've done a heck of a job in helping me, because you can never do it by yourself, and we need sales rep. Once that is acquired and we can get the financing, it'll take 6 to 8 weeks for the prototype, and then we're on our way. And then we can manufacture them, because we have a company out in Texas and Kansas, and we've already talked with them and found out that they were the company that could handle the manufacturing. So 68 once we are financed. Other than that, we are working on the financing so that we can be able to get to the prototype and to the website and to the merchant account, and then training more and making sure that we are properly ready to go out and sell the product.
Gotcha. Okay. You kind of touched on it, but there was a second question, and they said, have you secured the backing for the Bluetooth? So I guess, because you kind of touched on it, but I guess if you can elaborate on it, on that process as far as getting backing for the project.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're looking for investors. We're looking for partnerships. We as people of color, and especially in the African American community, we got to come together. If someone has a great idea, then I think that we should come together and help one another. I mean, over 550 years, we have been the downtrodden of this great country that we have, where there are plenty of resources, and we can come together and help other races, but we can't help ourselves. And somehow or another, we missed the beat, or we lost the smoke signal. So I think what we are doing now through this revolutionary, innovative Bluetooth, we can grab people together, and we want everybody to come in and help us so that we can help our community. So as soon as we can get these things, the better off we'll be. The more we can start, the better we can get schooling, get the schools involved. We can start building, and we can use APD to finance everything and continue to manufacture it here in the United States and in several parts of the United States. That's my vision.
Now, what I want you to do, because like I said, there's a lot of people that are listening from various locations and various age demographics, trying to walk through the whole invention process. You know, you don't have to go in detail because I know that's a lot, but just like how long it took to go from idea to prototype, and just kind of what were some of the steps that people need to think about as they're, because, you know, everybody probably has an idea in their head. My head is flooded with a million different ideas that I want to get out, and I actually have some stuff that's actually being worked on. So fill the audience in on that.
Well, good. That's a good question. I feel personally that all good things come from God. So I would recommend that, you know, what is your passion? I would think that you would find out what your passion is, and then you'll look for things that it's not there. And then you do your research, you do your due diligence. And then I would recommend that you go to the patent office, which is going to cost like $100 and something. Write it down, write down the functionalities to it, how long it takes you to figure out what it is that you've invented. Maybe you invented a ranch where you can take boats off of some kind of way that's in a corner or what have you. So you have to do the functionalities to it, and then you have to do the benefits. And what is the benefits of it? Is it going to save me from breaking my knuckles or whatever? And once you do that, you take it to the patent office. And the patent office, you know, you can't determine, but with mine, they couldn't find anything like it. So it was 2 weeks. And so from there, you can begin to do your due diligence and find out what you have to do. And then I would recommend somebody to take care of your invention, like Invent Help, because people will take your ideas. They take your ideas and they have it and it's gone, because I'm pretty sure Dr. You've probably thought of something at one time. You said, I've thought of that before. And when I went to Invent Help, they said that 10 people around the world think of the same thing, but only one do something about it. 10 people around the world that think of the same idea, but only one does something about it. So those are the things that you have to do to determine how long it's going to take and how you want to move it. And then if you are financially wealthy to move it fast, then that's fine. But most of us in the African-American community, we got to help each other to get to point A. And I think there's room for everybody that wants to, and we can move it from city to city to state, whereas we can help people. There's enough money, you know. Say on the market, you know, we set a price, and if it's $300 or $250, you could get $1 million. You know, that's a lot of money, $200-300 million. And we can start and build our own, and then we can help people with new ideas, like Barry Gordy type with the Michael Jackson, the Smokey Robinson. We have a lot of talent in our community, but it's just dormant, and we are here to sort of raise it up and let people know of awareness, because we could start. There's so many avenues that we can help other people, but we just need financing, and we need a lot of people to be encouraged to say, hey, this is what I want to do. I need help. And don't be afraid to tell people that you need help.
I hope everybody that's listening that has ideas just kind of don't know where to start. I hope you just listen to what he said. That's key. Now, you're talking about needing help and getting the resources that you need to bring that idea into fruition. I need you to once again give your contact info for those that may have tuned in after you previously gave your contact information. People may have came in and they need to get the info. Can you repeat your email, your phone, website, and social media contact so people can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Algenon Ashford at gmail.com. That's ALGENON Ashford Ashford, ASHFORD, @gmail.com. My cell number, you can reach me as 240-375-1417, 1417. You can befriend me on email, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and that's a good one. And then we can share ideas and having contacts where we can work together as a people, and we can start a move like Martin Luther King did for our people. And I think that it's needed right now. It's needed. It is definitely needed. It has been for a long time, and we are well overdue. So, but it is needed. It is needed.
Yeah, it's very important. I think people don't understand the enormity of how the system works. I'll tap dance on it briefly. What you're saying is, I have a dream, and this dream is a product that I can offer to people, and it'll revolutionize what we do on a tech level, right? It'll enhance their daily, day-to-day activities. From that, we can generate significant amounts of revenue. From the revenue, we can use that to employ our people, uplift our people. We can build schools. We can build industries. At the same time, move even political and cultural causes. Now, some may say, okay, well, that's kind of reaching. That's not reaching. What I will hope people understand, if you look at Peter Thiel, you look at the owner of PayPal. PayPal is a technology that revolutionized how we exchange money and financial transactions. Peter Thiel, he is probably one of the biggest donors, financial donors and contributors to Donald Trump's campaign. So now you're seeing what happens when somebody takes their invention, they become billionaires, and then they take that money and they're able to infuse that into their political views, into their cultural views, into their spiritual views. So actually, Mr. Ashford is right on key. He's right on target with how you're supposed to move with these type of things. Same thing with Bill Gates. We know him for Microsoft and computers, but now he's in the field of vaccines. He's in the field of transhumanism. He's doing all these other things with the money that he's earning just from playing in the garages and computers in his younger years. So we really have to think bold. We have to have an expansive mind. We have to see the future for what it is, be bold and not afraid of it. So
absolutely.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was perfectly said. We got to start somewhere, and everybody looks out. In America, they say in the African American community, the dollar bill is spent one time and gone. In the Jewish community, it turns over 6-7 times. In the Caucasian community, it's 5 to 6 times. We got to stop the trend, and we got to help each other to, pull us up by the bootstrap. I mean, the government, they've done all they could do, but I don't think they're the answer. I think we are the answer to our own problems, and we can build our own. We just need people with like-minded and willing, to give us a helping hand. There's always work to do, and we can grow. And then tomorrow, our children and our generation will start, and we'll be recognized the rest of our lives because we changed the trend. And we can hire our own. We don't have to look a certain way. We can hire us, and we know that we are gifted and talented. But look how much, talent we have lost in Chicago alone. Every year you got 500 young kids die, senseless deaths. Just doesn't make any sense. And then here in the D.C. area, you have 130, 40, 50 die, young people, every year. I mean, if we keep on, we're gonna be an endangered species. So we got to stop it somewhere. And so this is what I believe that God has given me to start a whole new revolution. And this idea will pilot and give us the funds that we need to start to build a new tomorrow for our kids and for our generation.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Algenon Ashford talking about his invention and patent, the APD. He's giving you the reasons why he's come up with this invention and patent, how it can be used. He's giving you the steps and the microprocesses of what all is involved. He's put the call out there for support. He's giving you his contact information. So let's make sure that we can reach out and support this brother, even if it's just a word of inspiration and motivation. He may need that. So with that said, Source Nation, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. But before I leave, I need to thank our sponsors, and once again, they are WGLRO.com, Scott Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, and Meet My Types Matchmaking. Also, Source Nation, if you want to contact me, you can hit me on Twitter at DocSwag06. That's DOCSWAGG06. My website is www.blackladder.net. That's black like the color, ladder like the tool you climb, .net. It is not a .com. Facebook fan page, 2MASC. That stands for 2 minutes and some change. If you want to see some videos and my commentary on YouTube, you can just go to YouTube and type in my name, Samori Swygert, Samori, Swygert, Swygert. You can also go into Dr. Boyce Watkins' channel. You'll see some more videos and things of that nature. If you want to check out my audio book, Speak on It, Mandatory Conversations for Black America, or if you want to hear my music, poetry CD, it's entitled Porn, but the porn is just an acronym for poetry, oration, rhythm, and narratives. All those can be found on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and CD Baby. And what I'll say is, Mr. Algenon Ashford, the platform and the podium is always welcome to you. As you go ahead and proceed with your endeavors with the APD and you start getting more advances, if you feel like you want to come back on the show and keep us updated, feel free. We would love to have you back on just to keep us updated. Did you want to close out with anything else?
Yeah, that was good. Thanks for having me, Mr. Swygert. It's been a pleasure, and we got work to do. And we got people out there that feels the way I feel about it, and I'm sure that they're willing to help us get to the next phase of our project.
All right. Well, Source Nation would love to have you back, and we thank you for even deciding to join us and share your information, share your story, and share your ideas with us. And good luck with you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. All right, everybody. We are out. Peace.